Open your mouth. Spread your legs. Clear. Let's go.
What up, what up? You already know it's your boy Pistol Pete. Welcome back to Dog in the Yard. Today we got Jason in the building, straight out of Dyckman Projects. Jason did 4 years for drugs. 2016, was home for 18 months, came home, went back to jail 2020, another 4 years. Today he's here, and with that being said, let's get right to it. You already know your boy Pistol, Dog in the Yard. What up, what up? You already know what it is. Your boy Pistol Pete. Welcome back to Dog in the Yard. And today we got Jason from Dyckman Projects. What up, Jason?
Pete, my brother, man. Good to be here, man.
Already know, man. What's up with you, man? How you been?
I'm all right, man. You know, before we even get started, I definitely want to say, you know, first and foremost, thank you to you and your whole team for allowing me to come up here on this platform, Dog in the Yard, and share my story, especially, you know, alongside someone that growing up, even from before I even went in the system, I only heard nothing but good things about you. Certain ways just to describe you, real, authentic, solid, you know. So for
Appreciate
me,
that.
it's a pleasure to be right here in your presence to share my
Appreciate
story,
you,
man.
my brother. Appreciate you. So, you know, I want to get into a little bit about yourself. You know, you're from Dyckman Projects.
Yeah.
You know, let them know where's that at. You know, you're Dominican.
Yep.
How you call it? You know, you give us a little bit of breakdown of yourself. You know, where you your upbringing and all that.
Sure, definitely,
And what leads you to, you know, you got siblings?
Yeah. I have 3 other siblings.
Yeah,
I'm the
so just
youngest.
talk a little bit siblings. You got parents, your mom, your dad. You was
Definitely.
raised with both of them.
Sure.
Yeah,
both
just
of
a
them.
little bit, just a little background and all that before we get into anything else.
All right, well, yeah, like you said, you know, P, I'm from Uptown, born and raised my whole life in Dyckman Projects, and I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. Growing up, I had a beautiful upbringing, great upbringing. It was 8 of us, 3-bedroom apartment, both my parents, my 3 other siblings, and my grandparents, you know, so it's crazy to hear that and to think, you know, the things that I went through in life, but, you know, I'm not going to sit here and blame it on them or my upbringing, because I was fortunate enough to actually have a good upbringing. You know, my parents came here early age from the Dominican Republic and really busted their ass, sacrificed themselves to give us that upbringing. You know, they was able to put us through school and all that, you know. We graduated, and my whole aspiration growing up was to actually be a lawyer. You know, that was always my dream, you know, like, in fact, to practice and exercise the law. And when you look at it and think about it, how it played out, I went from that to actually having the law prosecute and judge me. But I'm going to say it firsthand, you know, P, like, I'm not ashamed nor embarrassed to speak about my past mistakes I've made, because if there's one thing I know, and I think you could agree, our past doesn't define who we are today.
Absolutely,
you know?
Of course.
I had a good support system growing up. My siblings, you know, always there, count on me. I was the youngest of 4, like I told you. My grandparents also lived with us, so that was a big support. So
what drives you to want to go out? Do you want to be outside and do something different?
I mean,
your neighborhood, your environment.
Yeah, I think it was a turning point in my life. You know, P, what actually led to, you know, like I took a turn in my life, but it definitely wasn't for the right, you know. It went for the left, and that's important for the listeners to hear this and pay attention, because you could be good, you could have a good upbringing, but if you make a bad decision, if you make something that's gonna come with consequences, you're gonna have to deal with that, you know. So in my case, like I told you, dream always to be a lawyer. I actually used to work in one of the best law firms at the time. Right here in New York City on 50th
At what age?
Street. Like when I was 20, 21. I was there for like 7 years, Pete. Yeah. This law firm was actually sponsoring me to take my LSAT and all that. You know, I was really serious with this, but 2008, I ended up losing my job. You know, Pete. So in the midst of this, we were going through a big recession at the time. I'm going to job interviews. Nothing's coming my way. So I need to make money. I need to make ends meet, you know. So a friend of mine suggested to me, listen, you always going out. You love to party. You might as well promote. Give it a shot. You can make some money over there. I'm like, you know what? I thought about it, seen it as an opportunity. So I jumped into that world. And that's when this character that I was once, J.I. Party Hard Entertainment, was created. I created this whole marketing brand, I Party Hard Entertainment, and something that started small grew big. You know, I started doing parties in some of the hottest spots uptown, you know, everywhere, downtown, and that took off for me. But I was never exposed to that environment prior. So being around that environment, that whole nightlife scene, you know, P, it's toxic, man. I got introduced to things, I saw things I ain't never seen. And as I got deep into the whole partying, throwing parties and events, it just came a point where now I got introduced to drugs. You know, a little bit of weed here. Then they start introducing the pills. The E-pills were big back then, you know. So I started experimenting with that here and there. And then...
What, selling it?
Not like taking it myself, you know,
okay.
like, you know,
okay.
consuming it, you know, having fun, you know,
Yeah.
regular, you know, just enjoying
Having fun.
myself type, you know. Then people start asking me if I could get them pills or whatnot. So right then and there, you heard P.I.'s like, a light bulb went in my head. And I'm like, okay, I saw an opportunity for something else. Same way how I started with the whole party situation. Now I start, you know, getting my little pills here and there. Now in my head, I think I'm the man, you know. P, I'm like, damn, this ain't bad. I could get used to this. You know?
You get comfortable. Yeah, the more you sell, the more you get comfortable.
Yeah,
right?
you know, I'm like, oh, I could dibble and dabble. I could party, meet people.
Make
you know,
a couple dollars.
on the side, why not, you know? So, after that, you know, as I get deeper into that, you know, P, like I told you, I'm just living the life right now. I'm like, little did I know I was really setting myself up for failure. So the first point in my life where God really tried to intervene to give me that sign, like, listen, I know you J.I. Party Hard, but you need to slow down because you moving too fast right now. It took place P, March of 2014. Regular situation. I'm partying. I'm out. I was the type that after the party, I always wanted to go to the after hours, keep the party going, you know, like people that got to party with me, they always said it like, yo, you live up to your name. I party hard, you know? So one night I'm out, party finishes, trying to keep the party going. I end up getting in a car accident, you know, P, real bad car accident.
Wow.
Broke the right side of my hip, whatnot. I'm in crutches now. They tell me I gotta be in crutches for like 90 days. You would think, you know, the average normal person is gonna fall back and chill out. Yo, P, I was out there in the scene 2 weeks later, man, standing on couches and with my crutches and everything. Dudes looking at me like, yo, you bugging, bro. You know, but again, I'm just caught up in the moment. I'm living the moment right now.
Yeah. You was just doing your thing.
Yeah, you
and
know.
you was getting money and you was using the pills, so you probably wanted to keep vibing and having that feeling.
Yeah, you know.
So what occurred that got you locked up?
Nah, that actually, you know, it was like the first reality check, you know. Then a few months later, November 8th, I ended up getting, you know, shot up right there on 158 and Edgecombe.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Wow.
You know, like I died and everything, you know, rushed to the hospital. I was regular night, leaving one of my parties. Instead of going home, I went to the after hours. And that day specifically, my girl had told me like, yo, just stay home. You know, you already home. But you know me, I'm thinking about partying. Let's keep the party
you're
going.
gonna keep the same routine.
You know, and I ended up getting caught up in some situation that had nothing to do with me. Right there, we get to 158, I'm hopping out of cab. I'm not gonna, you know, my girl's expecting me. She's been calling me where I'm at. As I get there, I start hearing shots go off. But I'm not, it's like 8 in the morning. I see a garbage truck parked outside.
Shit.
And it didn't sound loud. So I'm like, what is it? They fireworks in November? That's what I'm thinking, you know, P. I'm like, why would someone be trying to kill me? Like, I ain't got no problems, no situations with nothing.
Right.
And that goes to show that sometimes, you know, being in the mix or being, you know, around the wrong things could lead to serious shit, you know?
Yeah,
P?
you could have lost your you could have really died.
Oh yeah, you know, like I get out the cab. So now I'm hearing this, and just so happened where I was going to, my girl lived, it was right there in the corner of a building. So I couldn't even run nowhere. So the bullets is just hitting the walls, ricocheting.
Wow.
And the minute right there my girl opened the door, I got hit in my lower back. Woke up 10 hours later, saw the light and everything, P. My parents told me how I had died and everything, and they had to resuscitate me, bro.
What?
Yeah.
Just to keep hanging out and just.
Yeah, it was
where your girl was at?
She was home.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I was home with her the whole time, you know, and she had told me, like, not even to go out because, you know, we was already calm, tranquilo. You know, girls, they never want you to be leaving the house, you know.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, nah, I gotta go do the party. But it wasn't mostly about going to do the party. It was actually, you know, being out there.
You just want to be outside.
Of course, you know.
Wow.
And that came up from a situation that, like I said, had nothing to do with me over that whole
So you got
party
shot
shit.
coming out the cab.
Yeah, as I made my way right to the building, you heard, P? Like, I was just eating Dyckman Express right there. You know, when you get out the club, you got the munchies, eating breakfast. And I wasn't on point, you know? So I'm getting in the cab. I don't know what's going on. And, you know, they followed me or whatnot. And, yeah, man, I almost lost my life.
Oh, so it was meant for you.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the why.
Nah, for some situation, you know, that had nothing to do with me. You heard,
okay,
P? Like,
okay.
being in that whole party scene.
Just being around the circle.
Nah, yeah, like the week before, we did a party out there in Negro Claro, you know, right on Uptown, where I'm from. And there was a situation that had nothing to do with me, you know, whatnot. But it involved people that actually, you know, were in the table, I guess, near me.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just a promoter, you feel me? And when
Right.
you promoting, you know, people always tend to want to
So
chill
you almost
with
got killed for some whole shit that you don't got nothing to do with.
At all. When the whole
See how
situation...
life is?
Yeah.
God gave you a chance again.
A lot of chances. And it's funny you say that, you heard, P, because for anyone listening out there, if for whatever reason they have one doubt about God's existence or if he, you know, in fact gives up on you, I'm living proof and testament to all that he never gives up on you. And he's, in fact, 1,000% real. If not, I wouldn't be sitting down having this conversation with you, you know?
Yeah.
I've been through a lot of shit, you know?
Yeah. Shit. So you woke up 10 hours later.
10 hours later, and guess how I woke up, P? My stomach open. I done seen the light and everything. I'm trying to move my leg. I'm handcuffed with a cop sitting right there. Supposedly, when they rushed me to the hospital, when they were, you know, taking off my clothes to start doing surgery and
They
stuff.
found drugs.
Yeah, they found some weed and some pills, you know, like a little party pack I used to, you know, roll with and stuff.
Your own personal shit.
And they booked me for that. You heard? I had to go to court, stomach open, wearing a stomach bag. The judge is like, "Are you serious, man? This guy almost lost his life, and y'all bringing him in for this BS?"
Yeah.
So you know that was dismissed. But again, these were the signs, the chances that God kept giving me.
Yeah.
You know, you would have thought after near life death experience, Pete, you're gonna slow the F up, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna take it easy. Yo, that's when I really took off. That's when I was like, now I had an ego in me, like, all right, the car accident, I was good. Almost lost my life, I was
Got
good.
shot.
I'm J.I. Party hard, man, and can't nothing stop me.
So you got better and you went back.
I went back right to the scene.
Back to the scene.
The clubbing, the hustling inside there and everything, you know, P. And at this point, just how the party situation took off for me, whatever else I'm doing, that's overseeing the promoting thing now. Now the other thing, the hustling is taking over, you know? So I'm losing sight of things, you know, like I'm all over the place. So my first intervention running with the law, like I ain't even never been to prison till my early 30s. You heard? I was a late bloomer. You heard, P?
Yeah.
And it came October 2015. Regular day, running around, you know, with my brother, my right hand steady. We come, you know, doing regular rounds, and I come to Dyckman, and I go to meet up with a girl that I had met through a friend. You know, P, and she would come see me every so often, you know?
Right.
And it just so happened this day, when she jumps out the car, we drive off, me and my man Steady, And as we hit the light right there on 204 Nagle, right by the Dyckman Park, right there, boom, 6 cars just swarm in, hit the trunk with the guns and everything. I'm frozen. I don't know what's going on. My man, Cakes, he knew off the rip. He just looked at me and was like, yo, that was an undercover.
Wow.
My heart dropped right there, P.
Oh, because you had sold something to an undercover.
Yeah.
And that was the same. They came back with the same undercover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you got locked up.
Yeah.
So how was that? What year how old you was, first and foremost?
I was 31, P. That was 2015.
Okay. And what occurred? What happened?
So
you got
they-
arrested and
So, you know, they end up taking me and my boy, you know, they take us to the precinct right there in Harlem by, I believe, like 155th, not too far from where I had gotten shot, 158th and Edgecombe. So I'm not thinking that I'm not seeing the severity of this, you know, P. I'm thinking whatever I say, I've never been in trouble with the law or whatnot. So I go in there, and you know, first thing, you know how they try to give it up, they trying to break you, you know, but then they hit me with the bomb that this been an ongoing investigation, sealed indictment, P, that I got hit with an 100-page indictment. So, you know, they trying to ask me about the prior shooting, like, yo, who shot you, this, that, and the third. You know, I'm like, yo, I'm sticking to the script. I'm like, I don't know what you talking about, you know? Like, then they asking me about my man Cakes, like, yo, who's the dude that was driving you? So me, I'm like, yo, listen, I keep it real. I'm like, yo, he ain't got nothing to do with none of this situation, you know? I exonerate him from that. So I end up going to court, you know, P, and back then they didn't have the bail reform. So it's like, if you wanted to bail out, you know, you had to prove the money was legit. It wasn't, you know, drug money. So I sat up for 3 weeks until I was able to bail out. You know, my sister, my brother, they went, you know, had to speak on my behalf. And again, even with this situation, you would think it's going to slow me up, P. And I was just going right back at it. Like, you know, God kept giving me the chances and the signs, and I wasn't paying attention to them. And it's like I always say, God ain't going to give up on you, but after a while, you know, he going to want to sit you down so you could really take things for what they are.
So what happened after that?
So now, that was October, P. I'm out on bail. 6 months later, May 10th, 2016. Again, I'm with my guy. Like, it was inevitable. We always together. This is my brother, me and Steady. You know, we up and down. So, he ends up getting a call from one of our dudes that we used to be cool with. This kid named Bling. You know, so I go with him. He tells me he's gonna shoot out there to 186 by like Alta Avenue. So I go with him out there, and we head over there. And in this situation, after we had picked up, you know, this dude Bling, he had gone out the car, and same situation like before, Pete. Cars just swarmed in.
Shit.
You know, I'm like, nah, you can't be serious. May 10th, this was 4 days after my birthday. My birthday had just passed, and mind you, I'm still recovering from the shooting. I'm walking around with these, you know, little drainage and
word?
everything. Yeah, like, so I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, I don't even know what's going on. So supposedly they had observed, you know, that other dude Bling in another car doing something. So it was their situation. But just over the fact, going back to what you said, Pete, being around the wrong situations, the wrong place, wrong time, you know, that comes with consequences. So they ended up taking us to the precinct and whatnot, and they told us off the rip, like, listen, man, we wasn't even out here trying to, y'all wasn't even in our radar. But off the fact that they seen in the system, P, that we had just got caught up in October, they like, now we got to take you in. Now we're going to book y'all too. So we end up getting caught up in that situation.
Wow.
And since no one, you know, on that circle that was doing what they were doing never really set off the rip, like, oh, nah, they ain't have nothing to do with it. You know how I did with my Cody. We all now.
No, got booked.
Yeah. And what was a situation before, P, that I was looking at, a 2 flat, being that it was my first offense, that ends up turning into a 4 flat. 4 flat and 5 post, P. My first one, man.
What's this 5 post? What's that?
Post is basically parole.
Oh, okay.
You know, they call it post, and it's more intense. You know, like, little bit, you know, more checkups or whatnot. And,
It's more checkups. And
yeah,
all that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, you know, but
So you went. So they came and ran down on you again,
Mhm.
and now you really. Now you. What happened then?
so now I go see the judge, whatever. I'm still in that mindset, P.
You go see the judge, but then you go through the system and all that.
I go through the system again, the tombs, all of
Yeah.
that. Every time I've ever, you know, what was had a run in with the law was always the tombs with tombs.
And you get bailed out.
Yeah, so now I go, P, and similar situation. They give me bail. I end up bailing out, right? I'm out like 3 weeks when I have to go back to court on June 2016. I see my co-defendants there. The prosecutors just came out ready, you know. P, they like, yo, Your Honor, he's already been out on bail, you know, and he just bailed out again. We demand to remand him. So right there, the judge agreed, P, and they remanded me, and then that's it. They sat me down, bro.
Where you went at?
From there, this time they shoot me over to Rikers.
Oh, so how was that? Your first time ever at Rikers Island?
Oh man, come on, P.
Going through the bridge.
That
How was
bridge?
what you was feeling?
It's different, P. You
Yeah.
know that experience. That bus is just going doom, 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 mad hard. I'll be lying to you if I told you I wasn't, you know, thinking in my head like, what am I in for right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Rikers, if you ain't going in there to let them hang. They'll hang you. You know that, P. You know how it is in there, man. And they end up shooting.
To let them know, let the audience know how it is.
It's real,
all them
man.
young brothers and sisters out there that they wilding, thinking they could go over the way you thought you was getting over and all that, and you wind up getting fucked for just being around the wrong people.
Yeah,
Because it's easy, just like that.
yeah,
Nowadays, you get caught up in any indictment,
yeah.
any conspiracy, just being hanging out around. You don't
Of
know
course.
what this guy been doing. Boop, they book him, they book you.
It's that easy, that delicate. You heard, P? So I'm in Rikers now, and yeah, to the audience out there, believe me when I tell you, it's not a fun place, man. Not at all, man. I end up shooting there. I gotta wait like week and a half just to get a bed. Then they end up sending me, you know, to the 5 building on the dark side for high classification. My first time in Rikers, and they sent me there because my bail was, you know, over 500,000. You know, P. So they said based on that, you have to go to.
So they took your bail, or they just raised your bail?
Nah, they remanded it. Basically, you know, the judge agreed with the prosecutors,
kept
and then
it.
they said, I'm exonerated. Like, you could get your bail money eventually back, you know, minus the fees or whatever. They were like, once you get exonerated, you know, then once you get sentenced or whatnot, you'll get your money back. So that's how that played out. But they ain't give me no more bail. Once you remand, you
So
can't.
you stood in jail
I stood in
on
Rikers, man.
Rikers Island. So how long you was on the island?
I was there for like 5-6 months. You heard, P, and then end up copping out, which was, by the way, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Having to get sentenced and having to look back at my parents and my family, you know, like.
Yeah, they out there in the audience like, what the
Of
fuck?
course, you know, major disappointment, you know, because again, like I told you, that's not what I saw growing up, you know.
Yeah, you was thinking that being a lawyer and everything else.
Yeah, man, you know.
So of course they was back there disappointed, like,
Mm-hmm.
what happened to my son? Like, what
Of
the
course,
fuck? Now
you
he
know.
going up top doing what? 3 years,
4.
full flat.
Yeah, you know, but.
They like, what the fuck is he doing?
It was hard, you know, but as I've been on this whole journey I'm going on right
No
now.
kids?
Who, me, myself? Yeah, I got one, man. 14-year-old.
Okay, so you already had a kid,
I had a kid, yeah.
and where was he at? What was his you know where he was at as far as like in your life and all that you?
I mean, it was devastating, you know. He was, at that point, he was like 5 years old, so, you know, he would go to court also as well, but he really didn't grasp the whole thing of what was going on.
Yeah, of course.
But them visits, them phone calls, they hit different, you know? And those were some of the things right there, like the fact that I disappointed my parents, my son, things that I had to really think and tell myself, like, yeah, I gotta get myself together, you know, Pete?
No, I mean, shit. That right there is like, you gotta get it together. I mean, it's your family out there. You look back, you like, shit.
Crazy, you know?
You know, the feeling is like, damn, you feel that weight.
Yeah, man.
So you want to taking that 4 years.
Yeah.
After 5 or 6 months on the island.
Yeah.
and you went up top.
I go up top.
I went up north for those that
Up north.
up
yeah.
north, up north New York, and you went to downstate.
Nah, I actually went to Ulster.
You went to Ulster.
Yeah.
How was that? How was your experience?
I mean, yo, when you get off the bus, they tell you off the rip, like, they want you to know that it's not Rikers. You see Rikers, a lot of things going on with inmates fighting each other, whatnot. But up top, the real people you gotta look out for, is the COs. Like they on a different type of time over there. So going through that whole experience when you gotta get completely naked, bathe, it's like the humanizing.
They shave your hair and all
yeah,
that.
the fresh baldy,
Yeah.
One of the lowest experience, disrespectful, an experience that I don't recommend no one to go
Yeah.
through.
Turn around, let me see your asshole
Yeah,
and all
bend
that.
at your knees and spread them, all that crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I end up staying there, P, for like 5 weeks, and then I get on a draft. And they make you bring all your property or whatnot, and dudes is just seeing what color tags they have, on their back to try to find out what spot they going to. And I remember hearing these COs like laughing about it, making jokes like, you guys are going so far up north that by the time y'all done with y'all sentence, y'all gonna be able to speak French Canadian. So I'm hearing this crazy, disrespect, and I'm like, I still don't know like what I'm in tune
What to
for,
expect? You
what
don't
I'm
know
stored
anything.
for,
It's your first time. You like,
Of
what
course.
the fuck?
So then come that morning when now we gotta go back to get Shaq and all that. When they brought out that black box, that hit different. Like
Explain to the brothers out there and the sisters, what's the black box?
that hit different, P. Like that is like probably the most uncomfortable, degrading thing that anyone could ever have put on them, bro. You know that? Like you can't move and they expect you to eat that cold bologna sandwich and use the bathroom with a black box that you can't move. Just looking at that, like, it's life changing. I still think about that shit sometimes, man.
Yeah. That shit is like a fucking trauma. Like this
Of
is
course.
Like, it hit you like, oh shit, I'm fucked. I can't even move. And you can't even talk on the bus.
Yeah.
Most of the time they don't let you talk on the bus. If you get caught talking on the bus, you ever know they beat you up, smack you, shit like that. Police be crazy with it.
Yeah.
So they put you on the draft. And where you went at?
I ended up going to Watertown
Okay.
Correctional Facility.
How was that?
I mean, it's funny, like, a few weeks I saw my good brother Vladimir from Happy Monkey, shouts to him, mentioning how he was at that spot. And when I was seeing this episode, P, no lie, I got goosebumps because everything that he was saying was 1,000% accurate. That spot was a hands-on spot. Like, it wasn't about you having to watch your back if you was going to get it on with some inmates. It was the officers, and they were letting it be known from the minute you got dropped off at their jail, like, listen, you mess with one of us or you rub one of us the wrong way, the whole compound is on you. I seen it. I experienced it. It was crazy, P. I was there 24 months in Watertown until I got moved to KSAT.
Okay, so you stood there for 2.5 years, and then you went where? KSAT?
Yeah.
What's KSAT?
KSAT is a comprehensive alcohol substance abuse treatment program.
Okay.
It's just like basically a shock program, but without the physical training, the physical aspect of it.
Yeah, I got you.
But very militant, up 5 in the morning, bed done certain type of way or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Guys telling on each other and shit.
all types of crazy
That kind of
stuff,
programs,
all
yeah.
types of crazy shit, Pete? And we go over there. I go over there 6 months, and then from there, the way it works, you go to work release. So I do my 6 months over there, and I'm just, staying under the radar the whole time. Like, I'm doing whatever assignments they're giving me. Yeah, I'm just trying to get home, And I'm in the mess hall, so, I would be out, some part of the program or whatnot. Like, being that I told you I had one to school and all that, Pete, I didn't have to. The only thing that I would be placed on was the mess hall. Which up north, those be like the stress hall, because that shit be stressing being up in there, Pete. But I end up getting through, the program. And the whole time I'm just thinking in my head like, yeah, I came off. I slid through the radar. You know, they ain't bother me or nothing. And that goes back to what I said. Like, you know, you could think sometimes, you know, like, oh, fake it till you make it. We've all heard that phrase.
Yeah.
That shit catches up to you eventually. You heard?
Facts.
So, yeah, I ended up going to Lincoln afterwards for work release. For like,
Came home.
Yeah, I came home.
After
I got
4 years.
Yeah, October 2018, I get to Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
Correctional Facility right there in Harlem. So I'm there for like 5 months. You know, you know how that work release works. You got to get a job ASAP, so they could keep you out, so you could keep getting your little furloughs or whatnot. If not, you know, they ready to send you back up north because, you know, they heavy on trying to remind you this is a privilege. You're supposed to be up north doing your time still, you know. So I'm there. I end up working at one of my good friend spot, Uptown Cafe de Broadway. You know, do like a brother to me, someone, you know, I always looked up to, you know, and he always, you know, like, believed in me, always reminded me, like, yo, your potential, you know, you got so much potential, whatnot.
Yeah, you loved your energy.
Always, you know, so
you got a job there.
I was there for a while, you know, until I finished work release. Now, when I finished work release, I end up staying there extra month. You know, I keep working, but then it's like that same life from before, P, just started calling me back. Yeah. And I remember this dude, you know, my guy, telling me, G, he's like, yo, listen, you got to be patient. Just stay next to me. You know, give yourself some time. I wasn't really trying to hear that, you know.
Yeah, you wasn't ready for it.
It's like almost like he saw already that I was trying to go back to my same BS, you know.
And you want to doing that. You want to going back.
I relapsed, P.
Oh, you relapsed.
I relapsed
Started
because, you
fucking
know,
with pills again and all
yeah,
that.
not even in that sense. I relapsed to my lifestyle. You see, you know, a lot of people relapse is not, you know, not only about substance or addiction. Like when you go back to your old ways, whatever. I went back to my way thinking.
Your mentality was the same.
Exactly. You heard?
Everything went back to that.
I went back to that. You know,
You forgot that you did 4 years.
Yeah, man. And yo, believe me, if there was someone, you know, when people graduate school, whatever, P, they be like, oh, the most likely to succeed.
Yeah.
Like in that program, when I went home, they were like, you the most likely to succeed to never come back to prison. Cause I was on my shit. I was just, you know, quiet, doing my bit.
You was doing your thing.
I was doing my thing. I would argue with dudes and tell them, yo, there's no way I'm coming back. I'm gonna be on a different type of time. But it just goes back to show, you know, like how easy it is to get a relapse, and it goes back to highlight how little the system does for us.
Yeah, the influence is there. People just, you know, everything is still back the way it was when you came home. Everything was like, oh shit, it's back.
It's back,
and you start losing yourself. And then you get caught up and get trapped off again.
Yeah, you know.
How long you was home?
17 months, P.
And went back.
I went back, man. You know, I started
for drugs again.
Drugs again, man.
What happened this time?
I mean, this time was crazy because this time just hit different. Besides the fact that it allowed me to become who I am today.
That shit hurt when you go back.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, of course. You know,
that's fuck all over.
That's the underlining factor. You know why I came about finding my purpose and creating my movement, made up north, for under one word, P, recidivism. Because I felt victim of that, you know. And going back, I seen how many brothers and sisters are actually victims of this problem, recidivism, you know. So yeah,
So you went back up top. Where you went at?
I ended up going back. Back, P.
For what?
Same situation, Ulster.
Drugs,
you know, criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 3rd degree. But the way this played out is a situation that's why I always tell people that they be like, oh, things could be better. But the same way things could be better, P, they could also be worse. You know, I'm out 17 months. I'm doing the whole party things like I tell you, getting back to it. And the reason why this one hit totally different is because it was like the betrayal that came with it, you know, and it was a really eye-opener. Okay. And this is important for the youth.
You had your child at that point,
I had my child, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is important, Pete. Like, when you try to push for the youth, that they hear this, because they get caught up with the streets thinking that there's such thing as love and loyalty. And I think we could both agree on this. That's all a myth. You know that, P. Like, we just seen right now, like, the rap game is at a hurt, man. Brothers getting incarcerated.
People laughing about it.
Yeah.
It's different now.
It's different, you know, P. So, I come out, whatever, and October 1st, 2020. It's crazy because that day a friend of mine had texted me like, this, mind you, this was COVID, the worst of we were living in a different time, you know, Pete? It was nasty out there. You remember?
Yeah.
So, October 1st, 2020, a friend of mine, he had hit me up and everything like, yo, what's up? We don't see you around no more, party. I'm like, nah, man, I'm chilling. Like, I was already trying to really fall back and get it together, get myself together.
Yeah, he was like, man, I ain't fucking with these guys.
Yeah, but you know, like, once it's too late, it's too late. You know, P, I went home that day, watching a few movies with wifey, some Netflix or whatnot. Around 1 in the morning, I hear that knock, doom, 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 doom. And it's like, something about that knock. You know when it's that knock, P, you just know it's them, you know? Like, there was no doubt in my mind. I knew it was them, the boys, the law enforcement. You feel me? So, wifey goes to look at the camera on the intercom. She's like, yeah, that is mad cops. I'm like, mad cops? So I hear mad boots barging in, you know, P. I'm like, what's going on? So I hear them asking her for me. So I'm like, you know what? Time to face the music, man. Let me just go up out there. I come out, you know, P, and these dudes tell me like, oh, you Jason Abreu, such and such? I'm like, yeah, I'm him. They're like, well, we have a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, a warrant for my arrest? You mind if I ask why? Like, respectfully, they're like, you know why? Conspiracy, you deal drugs. Yo, I heard that, P. My heart instantly dropped. I'm in PJs, cause I'm seeing like 10 dudes with plaques and everything, P. Like the way they came up in there, you would have thought I was a Chapo. Like I was the king of the king. You know, like it was crazy. Like, you know, like I didn't know what it was hitting for this time around. And my poor girl is trying to tell them, like, yo, let me just put some sneakers on him real quick. They not trying to hear nothing, P. They got me up out of there in pajamas and slippers and flip-flops, P. Crazy. 10 people, bro. And I remember looking at my girl's eyes, you know, poor girl, because she's, like, been amazing throughout my whole transition and everything, man. Like, probably the biggest support I have, man. And
that's a blessing.
Yeah, man. Shout out to her, man. And no lie, P, I remember looking at her eyes and her like just starting to cry. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. They put me in a van. Now I start retracking things I did that day, things I did throughout.
You start thinking about where this came from.
Yeah, where this came from, P. I'm like, how? Like trying to retract my steps,
so
whatever.
Then what happened? Then
they end up taking me to the Bronx, to the precinct out there by Kingsbridge. So now, you know, P, as crazy and funny as it may sound, I start breathing a little better because now I see they brought me here. It's a state situation. Like, we got to be real. Any situation, you know, P, there's a 9 out of 10 chances at state, you might get a little bit of a better outcome, you know, P, but I still don't know the full details, what's going on. So now, you know.
Yeah, how deep you in trouble. Like,
yeah. So, you know, right now, as they, you know, booking me, I see them holding, like, you know, a box, and I'm looking at the folders, and I see some dude, you know, that I know, whatever, some kid from the Bronx, Mike, and then when they walk me in, I'm like, I see it's him. So he tells me, oh, shit, party, you here too? So again, P, I'm clueless. I don't know what's going on. When they go and fingerprint, you know, this kid Mike first, he walks back. So I ask him, he's like, yo, I don't know the full details, but they just saying that this is some type of drug conspiracy, some drug indictment. So, you know, it was crazy, P. COVID, nasty times. I'm there with him, Mike, and like 3 other people that I don't even know. Going back to what you said earlier, how easy it is to get caught up in some conspiracy shit with people you don't even know, you know,
Fuck
P?
Yeah.
That should be real delicate and real crazy and real, because it happens daily out here, you know? So officers like, yo, you want to make a phone call? We'll call your loved ones, whatever. You know, they call my girl. They come back, tell me she was crazy, crying, and that she wanted to go to court, but they said, nah, you can't go. It was COVID. They weren't letting no one into court, so the officers start saying, they start saying, yo, the next day, yo, let's get y'all to court. The judge is going to let y'all go. You know, it's COVID, bail reform. So the whole time, P, I'm keeping my hopes up. I'm like, damn, I might get let out.
Yeah,
you know, we might let out. We end up going to the Bronx courtroom. We there all alone, P. Me and my co-Ds. I don't know what's going on. They end up bringing me up finally to bring the charges up against me or whatnot. And I'm up there looking crazy, chancleta. I told you, PJs. The lawyer I had, you know, the one the court gives you at the time before I retain my lawyer.
Your court appointed.
Yeah, exactly, P. He's there trying to fight to get me a bail or whatnot. And as he's trying to fight to get me a bail, the prosecutor just interjects real quick and says, "No way, Your Honor. Like, besides the fact that the defendant's already out on parole from a previous drug incarceration
Charge.
Yeah, drug charge. We not only did we observe, but we also have him on the surveillance that on such and such day, he threw a narcotic substance inside the trunk of an undercover." Yo, when I heard that, Pete, I just put my head down. My lawyer looked at me like, "Damn, I can't help you right now." Like, and right there, all mask was off. I already knew.
You knew who did
I
it?
already knew, man.
Oh, you knew who told
I
them?
couldn't believe it. I knew because, you know, Pete, prior to what they had stated in court, the day before that situation, I had met up with this individual that I once considered a brother. Someone I knew more than 10, 12 years. Someone we hung out, party. We did a lot of things together.
And all
Yeah,
that.
that hit different, you know? So the day before, he had told me, we spoke about this, like, yo, tomorrow afternoon around such and such time, I'm going to hit you up. And, you know, when I hit you up, I'm going to be parked up here where we link up. And my man is going to be parked behind me in the trunk. You just got to hit the trunk, you know, throw in what you got to throw in, and jump in my whip, and we good. So the whole time, you know, P, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not doing no hand-to-hand or nothing, whatever. And it just goes to show how easy you could just, like this, P, look. So then on the strength of that, I still didn't want to believe it. P. So they end up remanding me right there. They take me back, but now everything starts making signs. You know, everything start making sense. I start thinking how a week before, this same individual, P, had hit me up out of nowhere talking about, "Yo, Jay, you know it's COVID, and they looting all the stores in Fordham in the Bronx, and they might be going to Dyckman next. If you want, I could swing through and pass you a hammer, a grip." Now I start making sense of things. I'm like, oh, he was telling me this a week before to plant that on me.
Yeah.
I would have been up north behind the wall right now still, Pete.
For a gun.
But God had bigger plans for me, man.
For a gun.
For a gun and the drug charge.
So you went from there, you ain't getting no bail, you went just back to jail, back to the island.
Back to the island during COVID.
Yeah, how was that going back to the island with the COVID and all that too?
It was sickening, P. People were just dying there left and right, P.
Right?
It was sickening, man. Like, no rec. They wasn't taking us out to rec for over a year, P. Commissary, barely, because, you know, COVID, the world was paralyzed, so they couldn't get the deliveries of the foods over there.
Yeah,
so
everything was all late.
Yeah, you know, even...
They was giving y'all, like, doggy bags?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, exactly. Everything was getting there late, so a lot of times people wouldn't even get chow. It would just be doggy bags, man. Crazy, man, for some situation that, you know, I've learned to accept, and I hold myself accountable, because if I didn't put myself in the position for homeboy to do what he did, you know, but I've learned, which is very important, and I urge all these brothers and sisters coming home, you gotta learn to forgive and let go. Because when you come back out here, if you come back out here and you holding on to resentment, that's just gonna slow up your growth. Anything you trying to do is gonna slow you up. And it might even lead you to make an emotional decision, P. That's
go
gonna
back to jail.
Yeah, man.
No, you go back to jail.
We
you
gotta,
come upset.
We gotta face
like
it. Betrayal. That type of betrayal is
Yeah.
different, P. So instead of I look at it like this. Instead of coming out here with that energy, like, oh, he told on me, let it be, because what's already done,
it's done.
It's done. You did your time.
Just live your life.
You know, you did your time.
Now you know better now to ever trust anybody.
1,000%.
Just, you know, anybody. Don't ever get nobody to use you. Hey, Jay, by the way, go pick this up for me.
Nah, of course, you know. And these are, you know, the unfortunate but real times that we are living in now, P. You know, nowadays people don't stand on morals, values, principles, you know.
Shit, the world changed.
You know, the type of things that you've always stood on, things that I stand on, you know.
Yeah, the world changed, though. So,
you know.
You just got to watch yourself and watch your surrounding. You know what I'm saying? Move different. You know what I'm saying? And you just, if you ain't hear from a person, you know, in a long time, and all of a sudden he calls you on some, yo, I'm up. yo, you know, just get up. I got this going. You got to watch it, man.
Yeah,
'cause
man.
there's a lot of conspiracy, a lot of shit going on out there. You know what I'm saying? People, a lot of innocent brothers getting caught
Definitely,
out
man.
there.
Like, you
so
know,
you went back up top doing what?
I went back up top.
You copped out again.
I cop out to a 3 and 2 post. My lawyer, Anthony Straza, you know, much appreciation to him always. He was, you know, able to get me to cop out to the lower charge, criminal possession in the 3rd degree. So, like I said, I was in Rikers 10 months, and I'll never forget when this happened. They weren't even taking us to court. We were going court through virtual, right? He's like, listen, Jason, I know you don't want to obviously go back and do time, but at least there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I went up with that in the back of my mind, you know, and I said, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but this time around, I'm going to make it count. So,
Fuck yeah.
yeah, I was there 10 months. They had just opened up the visit. The first visit, they just opened up the visit. My girl was able to come see me.
Okay.
I used to work the visit over there. So, you know, I used
On
to
the
see.
island?
Yeah.
Where you was at?
And C95 in the
Okay.
5 building, you know. And that first visit ended up being my last with her before I went up. Because just as I was going out, they came, they tested me for COVID, which meant I was already on the next bus going up. So I gave her the news. She was, you know, devastated, but I told her, listen, you know, I got to go up to come back down. But, you know, I gave you my word. Things is going to definitely be different, you know, this time around.
This time around, I'm going to get this shit right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, shit, I'm blessed to have you still here.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So did she do the time with you?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's cool,
All
man.
the way,
You
man.
blessed, man.
Twice, yeah, man.
She a good woman, man. Shout out to her.
A great woman, you heard, Pete?
That's what's up, man.
I wouldn't be able to truthfully.
You did your first bit with her,
my first bit and my second.
and that's your
bit.
kid's mom's.
Nah, it's not.
Okay, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, that's my wife, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, man, first and second, and she's been had a big positive impact on me as to why I've been able to become, you know, who I am today, man. And
That's what's up, man.
definitely.
You know, you know, I'll say, you know, having a strong woman by you, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
You know,
Much
and
easier.
times has changed. So
Yo.
you blessed to have a great woman, because
Yo,
a lot of women ain't doing no more beds. You know, a lot of
man.
things changed. A lot of girls is like,
Yeah, man.
I gotta go.
And it's funny, you know, like you say that, P, like it makes it easy. I'm here laughing because I'm going to tell you about a real situation. So I end up getting sent up after 10 months. I tell her on the visit. Obviously, she was, you know, crying, devastated.
of course.
But I'm like, yo, babe, don't worry about it. I'm thinking 3 flat, right, P? I'm like, yo, babe, I already got 10 months in. I'm going to go up. I won't be up there for more than 8 months. They're going to give me a little program. I'll come back on work releases, non-violent. I already felt like I had the whole situation situated. You heard, P? So I
thought it was gonna be the first time.
Yeah, bro. So then I get up to Ulster. I'm there. Yo, the second day they called me up for mail, P. I'll never forget. I end up getting a letter. New York State Department of Correction Supervision. I open it. That letter is telling me about my time calculation, telling me my new commitment is 3 years and 2 posts. So I'm reading. As I get down, P, they hit me with it like, boom, like, tate quieto. They like, based on your previous incarceration, which was a 4 flat, that you came home on 34 months because of your merit, because of your good time, those 14 months that you owe, we want that. So they added that to my time. So that 3 flat became P like a 4.5, 5. When I got that letter, I didn't leave my QP. I was sick to my stomach, bro.
Fuck yeah, you like, damn.
Damn, and that's the first thing I thought about. Ladies making it easy. I'm like, yo, I don't think I'm not even gonna tell my wifey this. I just told her I'm looking at a little 6
You gotta let
8
it
more
ride
months.
out. Let her find out later on.
Yeah, you know, cause I'm still hoping for the best. You know,
Yeah.
Be like, hopefully they're gonna get me down in the program quick. So, and I remember some cat that was there from my hood. He saw like the disappointment in my face. He's like, yo, Jay, listen, man, you a good brother, bro, and you ain't deserve for that dude. You know the way he did you. You ain't deserve.
The way he
yeah,
did.
yeah, it was crazy, you know. And just have faith, man. You'll still get that program. And I'm like,
So
nah,
did
no
you
doubt.
start programming in jail?
Nah. So then, you know, P, after that, they shipped me out to Wyoming.
Okay, Wyoming.
I'll go to Wyoming Correctional Facility. That's all the way in Buffalo. Crazy, like one of the toughest mediums, along with Green and all that.
Right.
Terrible, you know. Like just to get to child, you have
was
to
in Wyoming.
Yeah, you have to walk a whole mile, you know, when you're in the back. So this is why I say, like, besides, you know, learning to forgive the situation that happened to me, I actually thank that person, because me being in prison, this sparked my purpose, which motivated me, you know, to create my movement.
To do what you're doing now.
And what happened was, P, that in this whole now second incarceration, as I'm going up, as I'm getting moved from Ulster to Elmira to get to Wyoming, and I'm in transit, I keep seeing familiar faces, P, from my first incarceration, you know, and it's already hitting me. Like, now I'm just thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one that came back. So I'm seeing this, and it's even getting to me more, P, because I'm noticing that the majority of guys that I'm noticing speaking to one another, you know, while we shackled up, like, yo, I'm on a new one. Yo, I'm on a parole violation, like saying that they just came back, they just reoffended.
They went through the same shit you.
It hurt me, because the majority, you know, was black and brown, African American, Latino brothers, people from Dyckman, my hood, from the Bronx, from my community. You know, so I'm like, yo, this is a problem. And this is a problem that I don't feel is really highlighted. So one day I remember walking that mile, Wyoming, to go to chow, and I end up bumping into some other dude. I was incarcerated on my first one, and he tells me how he came back. And right then and there, P, I said, this is it. This is what's gonna motivate me to go out there and create a movement, a platform that's gonna focus on helping formerly incarcerated individuals come home and overcome the whole recidivism trap, you know, and I got certain, you know, a few things that I'm doing, you know, to really push that, like through my social pages, Made Up North NYC.
So you did you did your 4 years again.
Yeah, but you know, I go to Wyoming, P. I haven't even told my girl. She's thinking I'm gonna be home in another, you know, like 6 months.
You start programming while you're there?
Nah, again, they actually put me in outside clearance. You heard, P? Like, I was
good.
Yeah, I was trying to do whatever I could do. See
how God was blessing you, just giving you that chance.
Yeah, yo, and
a lot of brothers don't get that chance. So
nah, man, a lot.
You was getting that chance, so you came home after the 4 years.
So I come home from there, P. Yeah, they moved me again to work release.
Did you started your movement while you was in there, or you thought about it? Or
I thought about it 2021 when I was in Wyoming.
Okay, like, so when you came home, what year you came home?
I came home November 2023. I got a year and change home.
Okay, so you've been home a year and a half.
But I mean, technically, I got P 2022 in the ending of April. I was on work release. I went to Queensboro for 18 months. Similar situation on work release, but this time, because of that extra time that they added, I was there for 18, 19 months on work release.
Okay. So you've been home a year and a half. And you started your program.
Yeah.
Made Up North.
Correct.
So what's it based on? Talk to me about that.
I mean, the whole foundation of Made Up North, the model that we represent is off the count and making it count. You know, brothers formerly incarcerated, such as yourself, that is out here off that prison count, that stood tall on that count, P, and you're out here making it count with the daily choices you making to make sure you stay out here, and all the positive things that you're doing for the community and the youth. So on my platform, like, there's no surprise, you know, P, when we get released from prison, it's like we have a big social stigma. It's like we finished doing time, but now it's like we owe time to society, because everyone looks at us different. You a felon, you know, you a convict. So that's one thing that I like to shed light and motivate these guys. Listen, come out here and always walk with your head high. Don't never let no one make you feel less of a person, because you're not. We made our mistakes, and today we're showing to the world that we could come out here and get it together and not go back. So that's what I really want to try to help out, that whole recidivism problem, because the statistics.
Okay, so that's what Made Up North is based on.
Yeah, correct.
To impact brothers and motivate them to
come home and stay home.
And don't get caught up in.
And our youth, of course.
Of course. Yeah, man, Jay, that's good, man. I'm happy that you out here doing your thing. You got to stay focused.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep pushing it. You talked to me about your podcast. You want to start the podcast going?
Yeah, definitely. Off the Count podcast.
Off the what?
Off the Count podcast.
Off the Count podcast. So what you be talking about there? What's it going to be based on? Just more or less similar?
Yeah, similar. You know, like, to your platform here, I'm going to, you know, have formerly incarcerated individuals come share their experience, their journey, and then highlight, speak about who they were versus who they are now. Like, you went through this journey, you went through prison, but today you out here.
You're great. You're different. Today you focus.
And you representing, our model. You off the count and making it count.
Okay. I like it. We're going to definitely help you get off the ground with that. I appreciate you coming, man.
Definitely,
Jay, you know what I mean? Stay focused.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I know you got some clothes.
Man.
You got some merch. You got some merch.
I
got a couple gifts I want to see. You know what I mean? I love gifts.
A little son, like, this is an honor to be here, like I told you.
Appreciate it, man.
Made up north, and that's something, that you represent on 100, like that to me is not even
Appreciate you. We'll keep these up here.
Yeah, that's not even, just about merch. That's a movement.
Nah,
like
it's a movement. Don't worry about it. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear the hat my next episode.
For sure,
You know what I'm saying? Represent Made Up North.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate having you. One last question. How you feel about prison reform?
Prison reform, I feel it needs to continue to be addressed fully more. Like there's a lot of systemic change that needs to take place. Like just recently, we had a serious situation occur with the brother Robert Brooks. Rest in peace, Robert Brooks.
Brooks.
And I definitely made a video on my platform addressing that.
We definitely we addressing that, and they on it.
Yeah,
family and friends, that organization, they on it.
Yeah.
With the CEOs are all charged.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, this is something that's been happening for years.
Yeah.
For decades.
Absolutely,
So it just finally got exposed.
Like, that's why that video hit home,
Of course, it hit all of us.
That's something that we were, to the world, it looked crazy, but to us, Pete, it was normal.
No, it was normal. It was something they've been doing that to us.
They've been doing that, So these are things that really need to continue to be addressed, and I'm trying to be a part of anything that could help that. Like, I know you also go to Rikers once in a while, Pete, to speak to the young brothers and young sisters.
I'll get you up there. You want to make a trip?
Man.
I'll take you up there with me. You just gotta, as long as it's okay with your parole.
Yeah, of course.
I will ask your contact, and then we'll organize it. So you can make a trip in there with me.
Definitely, Pete.
Yeah, I'd love to bring you in there, of course. Well, with that being said, man, I want to thank you, my brother.
Pete, thank you so much, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You.
Stay focused.
Thank you,
Just know the platform is here for you.
Thank you for
Anytime you want to come back, you know what I'm saying? You got any new adventures, new things, you can always come back up here and see us. This platform is made for us.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? This is the voice that we never had.
Yeah, thank
Dog
you,
in the yard.
Dog in the yard.
You already know.
Your
Your boy, you already know. Made Up North, Dog in the Yard, your boy Pistol. What up? Welcome back to Dog in the Yard with your boy Pistol Pete. First and foremost, I want to thank Jason. You already know. Que lo que es. To all my Dominicans out there on Dyckman. Jason home, as you can see, straight out up north. That's his new program, straight out of up north. He's out here working it. He's working on podcasts. He has a job. Never looking back, and that's what we want to see. You know what I'm saying? We want to see growth. And Jason has done that with all the things he does. I want to thank you, Jason, for coming through. Appreciate all the merch you gave me. You know what I'm saying? Made Up North. That's his shit. So stay focused for that. Made Up North, the podcast, and closing line. He's focused, man. All right? With that being said, it's your boy Pistol Pete, Dog in the Yard.
Slide.